If you ask me if we would potentially be entering into a new golden age of Terminator games, well, I don't know if I would have believed you. While the movies, especially the first two, are universally loved, it's not like I would expect a lot of developers to be coming out and making several Terminator games. We don't have any big film for Terminator to look forward to or anything like that, and the last one that came with Dark Fate was a pile of junk. Might even be the worst one. I really love seeing the series come back with Dark Fate. I wonder how they'll start that film. Oh, by shotgunning John Connor, and then trying to implant a Lady John Connor-like character. Yawn. It's boring. Move on. Do something interesting with the property. The prior sequels, compared to that garbage fest, at least tried. I enjoyed many of them. But circling back to the games, I felt like with the games that we have right now and potentially what is on the horizon, it feels like a good time to talk about how we might be eating good for some of the Terminator stuff for a while. The next big Terminator project that I am looking forward to is Terminator Survivors. This is a single-player and co-op open-world survivor game, set in the world of Terminator. You will be tasked with discovering and finding useful materials to then advance your home base. This sounds pretty cool. The world and environment of Terminator beg to have something like this where you can actually explore and really take in that environment. Having a base that you are contributing to is pretty interesting as well. What will we be able to build? Will we be able to care for other Resistance members or survivors? Will we need to then find food or other items to survive? We do know some more information as well. For one, the game is going to be played from the first person, and the title is fully playable offline. This is something I really like to see. I didn't know if this was going to be a live service type of thing, so to have it confirmed that you can play it offline, that's a great addition. One thing that is interesting that kind of reminds me of something like Alien Isolation is that the player or players are going to be hunted by a T-800. So I would guess that this title will lean more into the horror aspects of Terminator and how you will have this deadly machine hunting you down. The information seems to imply that players cannot kill this enemy, so the creativity I think will come from how you can deal and contend with a T-800. Will this mean you'll have various traps and distractions to then slow this down? Something else I'm curious about is if there will be any other enemy types, like other machines or even humans, that you'll need to contend with. Personally, I hope there are other enemies to fight in this open world, outside of just the T-800, but to have just one Terminator in a game as a big bad guy, that definitely shows the danger that this enemy is to the Resistance and the humans in that way. The developers plan to pay respect to the films, another good note too. Apparently this title was going to be coming out in 2024, but they released an update saying that they needed more time, and so they pushed it back to 2025. So hopefully sometime this year, we'll actually be able to see more of it and actually play it. I'm excited about this one. Now there is another Terminator game that we have absolutely no information on whatsoever, other than that it's going to be coming from Reef Entertainment, which I think is a publishing group. The title is called Terminator 2D No Fate, and it was rated for all major platforms. This does have me wondering about this title a lot, especially considering that we don't know anything about it. We know that it is a Terminator title, but at the same time, the 2D in the name I think might allow us to infer the type of game we might be seeing. If I had to guess, and I could be completely wrong here, I wonder if this title turns out to be a Terminator-styled Metroidvania game. Now that is something that could be really awesome. In that respect, being a Resistance fighter, gaining new weapons and equipment to explore levels while also having Terminators to fight along with. Bosses could be different variations of Terminators. Now, I could be wrong, and it could be a Metal Slug-like game, which honestly, that sounds pretty awesome too. All I know is that it's Terminator, so I'm interested. And I believe that it's the same publisher as Terminator Resistance. So while not the same developers, it is the same publishing group. So hopefully they found another good developer to deliver another good one. So that covers the two games to look forward to, but what about the games that we can currently play? Well, the easiest and biggest one to recommend would be Terminator Resistance. This title sort of went under the radar by the mainstream, and was trashed by many of the game critics. Terminator fans know it, and man, this game is just a blast. It's easily one of my favorite games of the last several years. It's a title that might have some roughness here and there, have a more of a budget look to it at times, but it completely shows when you have the right talent, and their hearts in the right places, you can achieve greatness. This game effectively acts like an unofficial third entry. where the game only acknowledges the first two films, and this new story fits in perfectly there. The gameplay is mostly all centered around the first-person shooting. It feels good, and the sound effects are ripped right from the films. This looks, feels, and even smells like authentic Terminator. Also, as a nice touch, they were able to get the license for the soundtrack and theme, and all the variations on the Terminator theme within Resistance are great. The campaign is a decent length, with an expansion that only just adds more of that awesomeness to it. The levels are a nice mixture of more linear stages with set pieces, and then others that act more like a hub, allowing for more exploration and even side missions to complete. It's a game that I have gone through a few times, and I love returning to it. I cannot recommend it enough. Now, as something more recently that I've been diving into was with Terminator Dark Fate Defiance. I know what you're thinking, a Terminator game based on that god-awful Dark Fate movie. It, at least so far, only uses the name of the film, and some aspects of Legion. As a game, this is a really fun real-time strategy game. You need to consider many things while in a level or a match. The position of your soldiers, how much ammo you have left, should you take cover, baiting enemies into traps, along with the best avenues to escape. The game has a good amount of content too, with a single-player campaign, skirmish mode, online, and even a new additional campaign as well. This was a title that completely surprised me. I came across it, gave it a try, and was continually surprised how well done it is. It makes me think of those other movie tie-in games, where the movie wasn't so good but the game based off of it was really good, like say with The Mummy Demastered, or that Wolverine Origins title. This game appears to do a better job of servicing the Terminator legacy, better than that Dark Fate film even tried to do. So there you have it, some fun and really well done games out now, and something to look forward to in the future. Again, I didn't expect to be in a situation where we would be seeing all sorts of Terminator games coming out, like a sort of Terminator game renaissance. Maybe there's more on the horizon that we don't even know about too. I would love for the developers of Terminator Resistance to do another Terminator game too, but they've moved on to make that excellent RoboCop game, and now my guess is that they'll probably take on another beloved legacy property and make something great out of it. Maybe Dread or Commando, or maybe even Cobra. One thing is certain is that if you're a Terminator fan like myself, I think we're going to be eating good as it pertains to Terminator games. We have a few new ones coming out down the road, and I hope they manage to deliver as well. What are your thoughts on all of this? Have you played any of these Terminator games? Are you looking forward to those too? What's an older Terminator title that you enjoy? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.